You know how there's some pieces of gear that you just have a love-hate relationship with? For me, it's Sawyer filters. Back in 2019, I started off with the Mini, and I thought that thing was okay until I found out it really wasn't. The flow rate on that thing was absolutely horrible from the get-go for the most part. And then I saw some people with the squeezes. I was sold. The flow rate on those things were much better than the Mini that I had. I eventually switched over to the squeeze. I thought it was okay, and they are right up until they're not. And for me, that's kind of a problem. So I think this is my second squeeze, so my third Sawyer filter. Just about 2 weeks ago, I was just doing a training hike on segment 28 of the Colorado Trail. I've taken pretty good care of that filter. I've backwashed it. And when it goes into storage, I did the bleach flush on it that Sawyer recommends to clean it and sanitize it. The flow rate has always kind of steadily been going down. That's to be expected. Eventually, you're going to plug up the hollow core membrane tubes in there, and you're just going to get to a point where you're never going to be able to get them fully clean again. I understand that. But I brought this one out of storage, and I checked it before I went and did my training hike, my section there. It was not flowing at all. I did everything I could to re-wet both sides of the filter. Left it overnight hoping that things would get better. On my hike, discovered they did not get better. Not at all. Not in the least. I was able to use it and get a couple liters of water filtered, which is all I needed. But it was excruciatingly slow. So anyway, I was finishing up the section hike. I was a few miles from the trailhead. Day hiker that day came by me, and as he came by me, we just started talking. He asked me what I was doing for. How the subject came up, asked me what I was doing for water filter and everything, and I said I was using Sawyer squeeze, but I think I was done with those things. He said, well, I just buy a new one every year because they're only $20. I got to thinking, oh, well, you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe before I ditch the whole Sawyer squeeze thing and go try something else, that seems like a fair point. $20 for 1 year worth of service, that seems pretty reasonable. So I came home and I was going to buy one. Get online, and no, it's not $20. These things are now $46 if we throw in tax, and then if you have to have the thing shipped, you're looking at between $50 and $60 for a new filter. I thought, well, that's a little excessive. So I did some looking, and I found that you can do like we'll call it a hot vinegar backwash and soak on these things to try to revive them. I figured, well, I'll give that a shot. So I did, and it appeared to work. I could fill up my bag, and I could hold the bag up, and I had a steady stream coming out of the thing with no pressure, not squeezing it, just from gravity flow. And I was like, oh, there we go. Now the thing's working right. I cleaned it out, and the thing's working great. Plan another hike that I just did this last weekend. I was going to take it because it appeared to be working. And I checked it the Thursday before the Saturday when I started my hike. Everything was good. So I get on my hike. The very first liter of water that I go to filter with this filter, I flip it upside down. Nothing. Not even a drop is flowing through the filter. How did we go from working great Thursday? It sits Friday, and then Saturday afternoon, nada. So it's one of those things where I'm having a wrench on this thing, which is not ideal, to try to get some flow out of it. I did. I was eventually, through 2 days, I was able to get 3 liters filtered, which was marginally enough for what I needed to do. I only did like 42 miles, and I started with 2. I filtered 3. That was 5 liters for 42 miles. Not ideal, but I made it work. But that whole situation reinforced that, yeah, I'm kind of done with with Sawyer filters. I don't want to be let down like that. As I was hiking around, I was thinking about what my options were. And I've settled on, I think I'm just going to get completely rid of any type of mechanical filtration device. One, I don't have to worry about it breaking. Because this actual filter, you can actually blow air through it. And so that tells me that something inside has ruptured. I didn't find that out until after I had filtered a liter or so and had started drinking it. It was like on my the subsequent filterings that I realized, oh, the filter is actually like blown a gasket. I might as well not even be filtering this water for the most part. But anyway, I don't want to have to deal with those kind of failures on trail. I don't have to worry about getting a filter, having the filter plugged up. I don't have to worry about backwashing it. I'm just going with bleach. Simple, not going to break down on me. So I bought a little dropper bottle that's 15 milliliters, and I will just use bleach as purification. Now, I know a lot of people are strongly against that, but I did kind of test this. I took just 2 liters of tap water, and I put 2 drops of bleach in each liter, which is the recommended amount of bleach for if you've got fairly clear and clean water. So, and then I capped it, let it sit for 30 minutes, and did the smell test. There was a faint bleach smell, which there's supposed to be. If you can't actually smell the bleach at all, apparently that means you didn't put enough in there and it needs more. But if you can smell it, that means everything's okay. And then I tasted it, and it tasted just like tap water. I could not taste the bleach in either of my bottles. I even, just to do a test, gave both bottles to my wife and asked her to test them. And she's like, yeah, I can faintly smell the bleach, but I don't taste anything. So my guess is I'll probably be using, on average, because dirtier water, cloudy water, you need to use a little more bleach. And it looks like anywhere from 2 to 4 drops is what you should use per liter. So let's say on average I'm using 3 drops. All right, I've got a 15 milliliter bottle, and 1 drop is roughly equal to 50 microliters, which is 0.05 milliliters. So if I use 3 drops, that gives me 0.15 milliliters of bleach per liter. And I've got a 15 milliliter bottle. So that gives me, I'm able to filter or purify 100 liters of water for that little 15 milliliter bottle. Then if I figure that I'm gonna, on average, I'll get 5 miles per 1 liter of water, and on average I'm hiking 25 miles a day, that 15 milliliter bottle of bleach will last me for 20 days. That's 20 days of not having to worry. I'm not having to worry about backwashing things. I'm not having to worry about flow rates. I just fill the thing up, put a couple of drops of bleach in there, cap it, start hiking, give it 30 minutes, and then I'm good to go. Now I have thought about, what about those times where you run out of water and you walk up to a water source and, you want to camel up? Well, you're not going to be able to do that. That's the only downside to this thing, is those situations where you want to filter and drink immediately. So that may be one of those things where I'm having to ration some water. I have also kind of changed up my whole water carry system. I bought a 2 liter Evernew bag. And my plan is, I normally carry 3 liter capacity. I'll have 2 smart water bottles, and then I have a 1 liter dirty bag. So now I'm going to have 1 smart water bottle with a 2 liter dirty bag. I think that'll be okay. I've never, in close to 3,000 plus miles of hiking, I've never ever had a situation where I have been completely out of water and gone up to a water source and had to filter and start drinking immediately. I've always had about half a liter left. That may be one of those things that it might happen, But if I have to wait 30 minutes, that's not a big deal. You could probably get away with waiting 15 to 20 minutes if it's clear water. Anyway, that's my plan. I'm just going to go with bleach. I did buy a Hydro Blue VersaFlow filter. I have not received it yet, but I did buy that just on the off chance when I'm doing my training hikes or some of my shorter thru hikes this summer that the bleach doesn't work out for me. I've got something that I can fall back on. But my plan as it stands is I'm going with the bleach. Now, what's your experience with the Sawyer filters? Anybody out there have a love-hate relationship? What are you doing for your water system and your water purification? Anyway, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Be sure to subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. And we'll see you next time. Now get out there and do some hiking.